The band has a man in a very sharp sweater. You will see in a matter of moments. The distinguished gentleman looking rather distinguished. Yours truly has the voice of a phone sex worker.
Oh, Jesus.
But I swear...
That only took about, 2 minutes?
I mean, it's real talk. It's real talk. I swear I'm completely healthy. I just use my voice quite a bit for a living, and this is one of the byproducts of that. Judah Wickower is looking sharp as well. We have the band back together.
And we're on a mission from God.
And we're on a mission from God. Oh, I want to hear more about that.
Well, that's a Blues Brothers thing.
Got it. A little bit of a generational gap.
Yeah.
Scotty Moe brought some eggs.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing. We'll talk about that on the show. Judah Wickower, are you ready to rock and roll? Keith, how you feeling before we start?
I'm feeling good. Mrs. Smith came back last night.
Get out of town.
Well, she came back from out of town.
Get out of town. Welcome back, Yona.
She came back from out of town, and I'm going to have to do some quick talking tonight to get out of the parking garage because I left my wallet home.
Well,
108-310.
I know the
108-310.
I know the fantastic team member that works at the parking garage, and anytime your name comes up,
she smiles.
Let's just say she smiles ear to ear.
Because she's a wonderful human being.
She is a wonderful human being.
Great conversations, but I'm going to have to...
She listens to the show.
I know she does, yeah. And I'm going to have to do a little puppy eyes, whining. I left my wallet home. Can you help me out, please?
You've done it before.
I have.
It's something that we should broadcast to Central Virginia.
Yeah, whatever.
But it's going to be a good show. I love Wednesdays here. I really love them when we have Scott Morris in the house, and today we do. The man with many nicknames, Scotty Moe, Scott Mortgage Morris. Keith tries to get a little crazy and throws Marvelous in there.
Yeah, well, every time Smith tries to get out of his little box, he gets himself into trouble.
Viewers and listeners, now's your time to ask questions, jump in with perspective, and shine on the show. I'm sure the Kevins, Yancey, and Higgins are going to be chiming in with Scotty Moe in the house, and a bourbon bed of epic proportions on the horizons here. It's going to be fantastic today. Judah Wickower has got us looking all right.
Even though I don't have my cup of coffee with me, this is going to be interesting.
Keith is coffeeless currently.
Yeah, because the wallet is not here.
You know what?
Maybe this is Yona's.
I was almost coffeeless and was running into like a super time crunch and popped into Seaville Coffee, like right there. And then after 250 is such a mess. Like, what is going on?
250 is a mess. It's always a mess. All right. Guys, good Wednesday morning. I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk with Keith Smith. Thank you kindly for joining us. An absolute pleasure to connect with you guys through one of my favorite talk shows, a vision of a man with personality, with charm, with mischief, with negotiation skills, and a man that just made it through about a week and change of his beautiful 7/8.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. His beautiful
let's be
7/8.
factual, 2 weeks.
Jonas Smith is back in town, and Keith Smith is riding on cloud 9 today. I swear I do not moonlight, despite the voice, as a phone sex worker. This is just the byproduct of using your voice constantly. Here comes a zing from Scott Morris.
My voice is very much similar, and I do moonlight as a late night sex worker.
Okay, there we go.
So let's remind people, Little Ears listen to the show, please.
They do listen to the show.
Listen.
I think we took it right to the PG line on that one, which is fine. Judah Wickower is our director. Let's go to the 3-shot and welcome the fellas to the show. Keith Smith, fresh from a board meeting.
I am, yeah. My actual last Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors. Look at that, I got it right. I got it right at the last, was my last board meeting today. I'm not going to be able to make next month's due to the health concerns I got going on and having to do some stuff at VA Medical Center. But Yeah, today was the last board meeting, and it was a short one, which is always a good one.
Oh,
good
short
thing.
board meetings are always good.
Short board meetings are always good.
As someone who runs some boards, one of my top priorities is keep them as short as humanly possible and efficient.
Follow the clock, brother.
Follow the clock. Jamie Turner's watching the program.
Hey,
He
Jamie.
says, "What a start to the show." I would imagine it's Keith Smith's tie and not Scotty Moe and I talking about being phone
No,
sex workers.
so let's change this. Let's just say you've got your Barry White. Is that I just date myself too?
I know
Again,
who Barry White is.
There you go.
Yeah.
There, a Barry White sexy voice on.
Well, my friend, why don't we take a moment before we talk real estate? Scotty Moe very generously bought
Yeah.
us farm fresh eggs. Is it from the Farmette in Culpeper?
It is, yeah. From the slew of layer hens that I have, we got a few too many roosters that need to be. I've actually got a realtor up in Reston who.
Let's get 'em on screen,
and
Judah.
This is like.
Now, don't drop them, Smith. Don't drop them.
Don't screw those up.
This
Go
is
ahead,
like
Scotty.
A producing team, and she's like I want to cull one and pluck it and like do like I was like I got two. I was like I'll bring them up to Reston. You want to kill some chickens in Reston? And her husband's totally like, if she does it, she will do it. Like I was blown away. Like these are like not your typical bring me a chicken to kill people.
Okay.
I was very. I was like, but at the same time on a realtor to LO like bonding type of deal. Like let's go, baby.
It doesn't get
Yeah.
better synergy and bonding than a loan officer and a realtor murdering some chickens
That's
for
right.
food for their kids
That's
for that
right.
night.
Let's have a barbecue.
Scott
We're
Morris.
doing really good. We're having sex workers and we're killing chickens.
Scott Morris, not only one of the best
what's
loan
going on here, man?
producers on the East Coast, but he's also a gentleman farmer. And ladies and gentlemen, can you peep the sweater Scotty Moe has on
So,
today?
I didn't know-
You may have to stand up to model this, Scott. I mean,
didn't
you're
know
looking
it
good.
It was jackets and
No,
pocket
this is
square
because I
day.
came from a board meeting. That's what this is all
Jackets
about.
and pocket square day, and I thought we were getting close to Halloween, so I've got going for a little Lebowski, the dude.
Oh, yeah, well
his
done.
dudeness, El Duderino. If you're not into the whole brevity thing, like I knew where we were going.
Oh, the show is on fire right now.
So how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I will briefly touch on. I talked a couple of weeks ago on the show. In May, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I began a chemotherapy regimen that lasted roughly 3 months. Took a break from August to September when I kicked off radiation chemo combination 5 days a week. And last Friday was my last treatment, hopefully forever, in regards to that.
Well done, brother.
Still heavily feeling the radiation effects, but and I got a cold on top of it, which is like, bam, bam.
But you brought us eggs.
But I'm I can already feel like my energy level is up and like knock a couple more days down and get on the other side of this thing. I'm really excited.
Will you
Scott
go-
Morris, good people, Vanessa Parkhill, giving you some love on the feed right here. Give Scotty Moe some love. The man is going about this like he goes about everything in his life, with a positive outlook, a confident attitude. He has a phenomenal family, loving wife, 3 kids. He's got chickens. He's a gentleman's farmer. And in September, he was one of the top producers at Ross Mortgage in the loan business.
And I foresee November pans out the way that we look like it's going to pan out. That theme continues.
Well done, Scott.
Rocking the world and rocking the cancer. Well done, sir.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
So
I love it.
I wanted to kick off a little bit today because I've been asked this question by a couple of buyers, and maybe I'll throw it right at you, and we can kick it off this way and see where the feed takes us on it. So, if you can, explain the importance of buyers doing the pre-approval, the pre-qualification process.
Great question.
Why is that so important?
Sizzle reel this, Judah.
Particularly in today's market.
So in any market, the importance of getting the pre-approval up front and ahead of time versus the day you walk into a house and say, all right, I want it. Depending on your situation, if you're self-employed, that could take another 24 hours. And the time that when you walk into a property that this is the one for you, you may not have that kind of time, because while we're getting into a less competitive market, we're still in a situation where we've got very low inventory. So when someone goes in and you need to make an offer then and there, we still may need to collect documents from you and to verify that truly what we're sending out is a pre-approval, not just some pre-qual that is listed without you giving any information, and then all of a sudden we've got you shopping for a house that you won't qualify for. The pre-approval is your tell someone that you've been vetted. It says, yes, that someone's looked at this guy's finances or gal's finances, and they're going to close on this property. And that's what a letter from me means. I don't have fallout due to bad work on the front end, meaning we collect all of the information. We get, if you're self-employed, we want everything. We want it up front so that we're sending a letter that we can be confident that you're going to close the purchase on.
Nicely done. That was fire right there. Very succinct.
So the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification is what? A
pre-qualification, you can log online. I could get on my phone right now, and in fact, because I'm petty, someone sent me a USAA
Ooh, throwing a little shade right here. I like it.
And I was just like, everything that he said made sense, except there were some exceptions. And it told me that you don't really qualify for as much as you're telling me that you qualify for. So I went on to USAA and logged in, and sure enough, bang, I can generate a pre-approval of that's what they call it. But it's really a pre-qual without giving them any documents.
So as a buyer, that makes such a difference, because as in today's market, in this shifting market, right? Me as a listing agent, where that pre-qualification comes from or pre-approval comes from, and the form of it makes a difference, because what we don't want to do is get halfway through the deal and then, because it was from a .com or whatever the heck it is,
or
lender.
even from a local person who doesn't, you're going to know most of the time if you show up with this thing in hand from your realtor, the quality of work that is sitting behind it. And they're going to want you to get in touch with someone that even if it's not me, and for some people who are out there listening, that's okay. I want it to be me, but it doesn't have to be me. They're going to know that, look, the letter that you're bringing me, I've had problems with before in the past for X reason. I'd really like you to reach out to X, X, and X. And what that means in my world for realtors, if giving 3 names is fine, introduce me in a group text. Be like, I'd like you to meet Scott. And see the response time. See the way that your clients are treated. See the difference in the level of service that's provided, not just from a confidence standpoint that we're going to close the loan, but the way that your clients are treated. Like that's also part of the process. Knowing that your clients are getting an experience that they wouldn't somewhere else, to where when they turn around and they go, gosh, Keith is amazing. Hooked me up with Scott, and because of Keith, I got all these things, because I'm always going to be a greater representation of you than, say, you are of me. Like, if I do something wrong, that's going to come back to you. It's never, but as long as we close, any things that any friction maybe between you and the client, that a lot of that gets forgotten, knowing that I did a good job on my end, and we asked for referrals through the process in order to supply you more business as well.
Man's on fire.
There you go, buddy. I'm making what we're doing, or at least what I'm doing, super easy. Just
Me
to talk,
too, Keith.
easy peasy, easy peasy. Is that what you said?
Easy
Or
peasy.
Easy peasy. So just as you were talking, I was just taking a look at what's on Charlottesville active right now. I'm doing that for a reason because we just put a home yesterday on 2308 Center Avenue. But there's only in the
Oh,
city.
you got a listing.
Yeah,
Cool.
and in the Charlottesville area, there's only 37 homes on the market. There's 3. One of them is ours. That's under 300,000, but and that runs all the way up to 1,800,000.
So we're not seeing more days on market here yet?
Yes, we are, I think. Yeah, I think you are. We've been talking about that pretty much for the last couple of weeks. They're starting to grow. But the conversation we had with Woody and Nikki on Monday, because today's Wednesday, right? On Monday.
Today's Wednesday.
Thank-
Whether it was buyer's market or not.
No, it is Wednesday?
Today's
is
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
You guys want to text me later to take my trash out? 'Cause I
Today's-
forgot last week.
Okay.
Okay.
Today is Wednesday. We will let them know. Judah, we got to make sure we text
All right.
Scotty Moe.
Take your trash out.
Take your trash out. I think he's joking over here. Why don't we ask him that question? Do you think it's
Yeah,
a
great
seller's
question there.
buyer's market? How do you characterize it right now?
I think we're shifting to a buyer's market. And that is especially true. What I'm seeing in Richmond, Culpeper, is 500 is your sticky point. That's where I'm starting to see a little more. I'm seeing more days on market. If it's unless it's like the listing agent did an A+, like hitting the value to where they're looking for offers, not just to have it be on. If they're looking to sell it, not list it, and coupled with that seems to be the sticky price point.
So I'm looking at active Charlottesville right now. The median days on market, believe it or not, is 36. The average is 54. There's some that are at 0, which is one of the ones we just put on yesterday. Actually, it's at 1 now. And then the maximum is 240 days. But you're right. When you start looking at the certain price points, they're below 30. But there's a lot of 30 days in here as I'm going through it. The one that we put on yesterday, I'm already booked all day today for showings and half of tomorrow.
It's a good price point.
Well, it's a great price point, but if you read the listing, it's sold as is. It needs help, right? It's got great location, great price. The features and condition needs a little bit of help. And
If you're the buyer who likes this property and you want me to get you in touch with the contractor and the HUD consultant, we will rip this thing apart and do a 203K loan and get you the home of your dreams.
well, that was the door I was opening for you.
We should go down that road.
Yeah. So if there is a buyer that wants to do this, that is not the investor buyer.
Give us the address again.
You would have to tell. Hold on a second. I should know that. It's my own listing. 2308 Center Avenue.
2308 Center Avenue.
Center Avenue. Center Avenue.
We're looking at it right now.
Yeah. So it's sold as is. It needs help, but it's a great opportunity for either a full renovation or potentially an investor. You can actually put a 2-bedroom apartment downstairs and a 2-bedroom apartment upstairs. It's
Oh, this is
set
a
up that-
fantastic location.
Yeah, it's a great location.
Tell us about the location.
Yeah, it's close to the university. It's close to walking distance. It's right off of Cherry Avenue. I mean, the location is perfect for it. And to your point about pricing it right, if you take a little history into the listing, and we won't talk about who, right? But at one point in time, that was on the market for $400,000, which got 0 traction. And pricing it right matters, and I think we priced it right. And by evidence of a full day of showings, I think
You think this is an investor?
I think this goes to my point of higher interest rates has slowed investor activity, which has made it easier for first-time home buyers to get in on a property potentially like this with a 203K loan, or enough to get it through the
main
the finish
level
line.
is fine. It's 2 bedrooms. You can it works. But the lower level, you need some money to go ahead and renovate it and turn it into whatever you wish to turn it into.
Will it get through a conventional appraisal with
yeah.
the condition downstairs? So
Yeah,
it's just not nice.
It's just not. It's just not renovated.
See, this feels like an actual phone call that I would have with Keith.
Yeah, it's
Keep it
not,
going. It's great.
It's not. It's fine. I think it's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
it's got rough-in kitchen, actually, it's got a bath in the basement already.
Okay,
so it just needs to
so
get.
it's unfinished.
That's exactly right. It's
Love
unfin-
it, love
it's
it, love it.
unfinished.
Okay, and
so
the
it just needs to-
upstairs is just dated.
Yeah, they actually did a great job. They painted it, but it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home,
Okay.
right? But yeah, you could renovate that bottom level. It's a large lot. It's like Jerry said, it's in a great location.
Oh, phenomenal
You
location.
can
Amazing.
walk just about anywhere.
Anywhere. It's the dead center of the city.
Yeah.
2308 Center Avenue. Zip code's 22903.
But I'll disagree with the investor thing because most of those showings are cash investors that want to do it. They're not financing.
Yeah. Okay.
People are asking me to share the link. I'll put
Sure.
the link in the comment section of my Facebook page and some of the I Love Seville Facebook pages.
So back to the photography conversation we had on Monday.
You kept it real.
It's real.
Yeah.
Those photos are, that is what that home looks like.
I mean, this right here has tremendous potential. This home finished is $2,000 a month rent for an investor.
That's
This
exactly
home
right.
finished is for a family, a young couple, even a couple with a kid
Sure.
that wants to go through the rehab process is a phenomenal starter
Yeah,
home.
you can live in it for a while and do a full dormer on the second story. You can blow the roof off, and there's several houses in the neighborhood. That's what they've done. Just remove the roof and put a second story on the home. So you'd end up with a 3-story, basement level, main level, and upper level. But it's the location is perfect. There are some rentals around that kind of similar homes that taken advantage of it and renovated it. So I think we priced it right. I think it's right where it needs to be.
Check the comment section. Questions coming in for Scotty Moe. Jamie Turner specifically for Scott. Thoughts on those 700 plus Northridge listings, Scott Morris?
I haven't looked at them. Somebody want to keep?
So we're
cheat
we're talking about the $700,000 Northridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are under new construction,
These-
right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
new construction. I know that
Yeah.
much. but
I'd have to take a minute and take a look at that, and if somebody can chat while we're doing
Absolutely. We'll call those up. Viewers and listeners, if you have comments, put them in the feed. More comments coming in for Scotty Moe. This is from Grayson, who routinely watches in the city of Charlottesville. And he said, what will it take, in your opinion, Scott, for it to shift completely into a buyer's market?
Inventory.
Yeah.
But here's the problem: we're 5 years away from that being a reality, probably.
that. And the market will shift back again in that time.
Now it's going to be a gradual. So I've said on here. I in fact had a call with like a nationwide top producer, runs a coaching company. Someone I've got enough of a relationship with to have a call to where something came up, and they reached out to me about it. But we jumped on the conversation of specifically that, like, what makes this shift happen. Inventory being a living organism, like we just went through this frenzy of homes being gobbled up by both investors and first-time buyers, who had the chance to qualify in some of the lowest rates that we'll ever see in any of our lifetimes, combined with your people going out buying Airbnb and individuals becoming investors for the first time. There was just it was like
We had that conversation on Monday about Airbnbs.
I'm a big fishing guy, and it was marlin just rolling tuna up into a ball and attacking, and it's going to take some time for inventory to come back. But the part of the problem is, here we go, builders who with rising rates, rising cost to build, are slowing down again, which is what really hamstrung us coming out of the 2008, 2009.
Especially the small builder.
We have been 5 million new units a year short over 10 years, and then that's continuing. Now we've got a baby boomer generation who may be downsizing, may be doing different things. You've got Gen Xers who are slowing in their number of purchases. We've got now we've got this huge demographic of millennials because they are children of this enormous generation of baby boomers. So now, again, what do we talk about all the time? Humans versus rooftops. So until we come up with a solution to raising inventory, part of it's going to happen through this rise of rates, more days on market, but we've really got to get new construction back in the game. If the federal government who thinks, maybe they add, how do we build, we're going to call more affordable housing, not affordable housing in its traditional sense, or just how do we get more sticks on dirt in the ground all over the place. And not, we get cheated with these numbers, like when we talk about the crash in prices, we look at what's going on in Las Vegas and Texas and parts of the Sun Belt where you get these huge new construction numbers, but then again, that's also where they feel the most pain when it comes to what we're going through now. In the area that we live in, we're not seeing the price correction that they're seeing in those areas. For us, it's going to be much more stable. It's going to happen slower. We may get some, we may pull back 5%, 10% maybe, versus these big numbers that you're already seeing posted in the Las Vegases.
Well, because they ramped up so fast, and usually whatever ramps up fast ramps down.
And we're severely under inventoried.
But we've been
severely under inventoried, and it's a coveted place to live.
We were talking about low inventory in 2018.
Yeah,
almost to the point that we were not allowed to say the word anymore.
The word inventory became a 4-letter word.
So
can we use the word now?
Sure.
Sorry, am I not supposed to be saying that?
Scott, you say whatever
you
want.
You can say whatever you want.
Y'all don't.
Northridge. We're talking about the Northridge on the other side of the mountain.
We're talking about the ones in Culpeper. That's why Jamie brought them up to Scotty Moe. He says he thinks the 700 plus is a little high for Culpeper.
I'm looking at one right now.
In North Point and Culpeper, there's a $700,000.
Northridge.
North Point is 29 North.
North Point is 29 North. That's right.
Yeah. So it's
North Point is Albemarle County, close to the Greene County line.
Exactly right.
Northridge is Rep in the Pep, Culpeper, Virginia.
$722,000.
I had studio camera right there, J Dubs.
$1,000. Yeah, so pending release, quick move in. I don't have my thumb quite on the Culpeper market. I'm sure Scott does.
Oh, certainly does.
But
Woody Fitcham says Scott's marketing with Dazed and Confused memes is awesome. Woody Fitcham giving Scotty Moe some props over here.
Thank you. I'm going to see if I can get a Lebowski thing going here shortly.
You're kind of doing it.
All you need is the White Russian.
Well, I was told I had Angry Elf energy from the show a couple weeks ago.
Angry Elf.
That's about a month and a half ago. That was only one show.
Okay,
I think you've eradicated that.
I'm trying to bring.
You're going the other direction.
A little more
Zen. You want to go Zen?
Yeah.
He's very Zen today.
So while Scott is looking at that thing, back to the buyer profile, I'm looking at NAR's numbers here. So 43%, and this is a 22 report, which is actually 21 numbers. 43% of the sales were millennials. 18% were between 23 and 31, and 25% between 32 and 45. I'll tell you, when I get this report March of next year, I bet you're going to see that 43 crossing the 50% threshold, awfully close to it anyway.
No doubt. Why do you think that?
The millennial buyer is in the market, and the pool is so large. Like we talked about before with Woody and Nikki on the show, we used to be at the 16-foot depth of the 10-meter high Olympic diving pool, right? Now we're maybe at the 14-foot maybe 13 foot, but that pool is so huge, and there's so many buyers within that can acquire, right? Because they've got the cash down payment, they've got the job, they can afford the payments. They're gonna date the rate, right, and marry the house, and then come back to Scott and go ahead and refinance after
Date the
2
rate, marry the house. Usually fire Scott Morris up over there.
I know. I did that on purpose.
did that to try to throw some fuel
I'm
on
just
the fire.
I'm trying to see if I can get him to kick in on
I
it.
think right now he's studying
He's thinking.
the Northridge
So-
listings.
So I mean, the whole date the rate thing.
So let's come up with a different term. What would you say other than date the rate and marry the house? Because this is a real conversation we're having with buyers, right? That look, it may be 7% and maybe going to 8%, but and I agree with you. Sometime next year.
If we've been watching the U.S. 10-year over the last 3 days, we have seen at least a week's worth of negative movement turned around. Now, I don't know if this is an okey doke in the bond market, and
That's what I'm worried about.
They think that there is they're trapping some retail investors before we get a little
So for the
Little
people,
pullback.
some jobs reports coming
so the
up.
people who watching and listening here, please talk about the connection between the bond rate and the mortgage 30-year mortgage rate, because
Okay.
there's a direct connection there.
So for everybody, like when the Fed starts talking about moving the prime rate up, and you see, I see a lot of sometimes realtors posting rates
Not just realtors.
Rates are going up. Not just realtors.
I'm
but,
seeing some LOs do that.
Well,
Not you.
yeah, but all right. So those things correlate a little bit, but the Fed's going to keep raising the prime rate. At some point, it's going to start signaling that there's other mechanics in the jobs reports that we see. The fact that we're going to run a third quarter of negative GDP. 2 makes a recession. You're not in a recession yet, but there might be a severe one coming. But we don't know. Maybe it'll be a soft landing, like whatever language they want to put around that. Ultimately, when the bond market is bought back into, so when people don't want to buy bonds, high yields, high mortgage rates. When people want to buy bonds, lower yields, lower mortgage rates. So the Fed could keep jacking up. They could get to 4 3/4, 4.75 as a prime rate, and then during that, or prior to them even getting to their peak, these recession fears could become recession realities, and when that happens, institutional money will move back into bonds. That will create lower yields, which will create lower mortgage rates.
Yep, and that's your prediction.
And that, yeah. So, but
Lee Elberson loves the predictions on LinkedIn.
I love saying these things, but
Well, I can tell you.
I couldn't tell you when, but the advice that I can give to my borrowers is this, and always this. If you can be comfortable at this payment, whether we like where we are or not is not the point. If you can be comfortable executing this, I can guarantee you that in the next 12 to 24 months, you're going to refinance this loan. So if you can be comfortable here, know that we've got a much better something coming down the road. I just don't know how steeply things will collapse, and I don't know when it's going to happen. I just know that it's going to.
I got to jump in here. We got great comments coming in the feed. Neil Williamson is sharing a meme on my personal Facebook page, which I'm going to share with Scott Morris on air. Here's Neil Williamson's meme. Call me an elf one more time.
I like it.
This is from the movie Elf right here. I'll put it on screen, Judah, if you can come a close-up on me. Travis Hackworth is watching in Danville, and Travis says, Scott Morris, I think it looks like you're auditioning for the show Longmire, which is a fantastic show.
Oh, yeah.
Longmire?
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring California hippie energy, and you're telling me that I'm bringing like
you
out
look
west
good.
Montana, like.
This
Look,
man's
all
giving you-
that means
This man's
is-
giving you some props.
all that means
Jennifer is saying to Scott Morris, I absolutely love the sweater, Scott. Please let us know where you're getting it. And then on another page from Steven, please have Scott stand up one more time so we can admire the sweater again. You
Okay.
are getting props on the show.
All right.
Can you highlight the sweater?
We can definitely highlight the sweater.
How about a 360 turn there? Look at that.
I can see you can go either way, right? That could be a Lebowski, or that could be, like
That
a
could be-
Yellowstone kind of
Exactly.
thing.
That could be Lebowski or like Montana multimillionaire.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We just need to get you one of those
A
Stetsons.
couple. We just get a couple $1 million. And
Very
then,
interesting.
Montana.
Scott Morris is a gentleman farmer in Culpeper and one of the top producing loan officers at Ross Mortgage.
let's just call him a farmer.
He's a gentleman farmer. I mean, look at that sweater. He's a gentleman farmer. Keith
We
Smith.
can't let it get that far away. So look, to your point about recessions, right? So, I personally think we're in a recession. I think we've been in a recession. I think at some point here in the first quarter of next year, somebody's going to actually say we're in a recession. But, I'm looking at it.
They won't say it between now and the midterms.
Yeah, until after midterms.
Well, that's midterms a couple weeks. I'm talking sometime by
All right.
the end of the first quarter of next year.
Let's talk about. I really want to talk about the U.S. 10-year.
Okay.
And if there's a chart that could be brought up on screen, we spiked to
Shane Dillon is giving you some props.
Shane Dillon. How are you, my friend?
Do you know Shane Dillon?
I've known Shane Dillon since we was little kids.
Shane Dillon says Scott Morris looking sharp.
Terrorize-
Looking like he's off-season Santa Claus, just getting back to the North Pole after a couple of weeks in the Outer Banks.
I like it.
I like it for Shane
So
Dillon.
we're Lebowski.
I think he needs
we're
more.
And now we're more Santa
I
Claus.
should have done a better job defining the look. That's for sure.
Dude, I think you're flossing.
You know what? All that says is you can do it. You can do everything
So
and pull it off.
So the U.S. 10-year, we actually saw hit up near 4.5%. I feel like we got a little higher there, but we definitely were up to 4.2, and that might have been in some weekend trading that I saw it up near 4.5. But we're almost down to 4%. We're about to drop another 10 basis points just this morning.
And so how does that impact the 30-year mortgage?
So that positively impacts the 30-year mortgage. So
You want the yield to do what in order to impact that?
yield, we want the yield to go down.
That's
So
exactly
when we quickly moved from, so look at the U.S. 10-year at the beginning of the year was, I'll bring up.
So while you're searching that, just to go back to the, typically when recessions happen, 30-year mortgage rates drop. So in 1980, which was a recessionary period, it dropped negative 4.25. 81 dropped another 5. 91 recession, it dropped 2.5. 2001, it dropped 0.63, so not quite a point. 2008, it dropped 1.13, so just a little over a point. In the 2020 recession, it dropped a point. So I think that the point that we're making here is as the recession comes in, I think these interest rates are going to drop. I think we're closer to a 91 recession, personally. That's what I think we're about ready to get into, and which was about an 18-month recession, something like that, if I remember it correctly, on that end of it. So if we get a 2 to 2.5 point drop, and you're at 7, that makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Huge difference.
And what's the magic number for refinancing?
2
right?
points. Too much?
Yeah, way too much.
Point and a quarter?
I mean, if you can drop 3/4 of a point, so from if you were at,
Call it 7 to 6.25.
let's say you were at 6.5, and you could go to 5.75. That's going to save you a pile of money.
How long
Now,
do you have to stay in the home to make up the closing costs?
That's the question I was going to ask.
that depends on how much it lowers your payment. So
The wider the spread, the
I
quicker
typically
recovery.
Yeah.
typically 2 years. Typically 2 years
Yeah.
is my like. You shouldn't be doing it at. Let's say you wanted to do a cash out and to solve some financial problems. Let's talk about this all quickly for a second in a way that I think really needs to be addressed. When rates begin to drop, you are going to get, you the borrower or homeowner, is going to be bombarded
Oh, yeah.
with email. It'll start out as email, then paper content. You'll see the ads that are running on your news channel of choice with different companies.
You're going to get hammered with advertisements.
Yeah, let's go, let's do this. Call whoever originally helped you. Or if you don't remember who that is, call me. I'm easy to find. Because the beginning may not be the best time to pull the trigger on this. Like with what we're seeing today, so what I was talking about, the U.S. 10-year started the year at 1.6. It made it up to 4.5. That is almost 3 full percentage interest points. That's unheard of. That is bonkers from start to finish in 1 year. Now, when it comes down, it's going to come down in tiers also. The first round may not be the time to pull the trigger on your refi unless you have to have the money, and there's all, unless you have some very personal urgency requirements behind it. When you first originally begin to be bombarded with all this, wait. If you can wait until we get to a lower amount, you're going to save more money because you're going to pay closing costs over and over again trying to...
You don't want to do it twice.
Yeah, you don't want
to do it twice.
Yeah, so I honestly think that you're going to be looking between a point and 2 points probably within the next 12 to 24 months down. But everybody, I think the point you're trying to make is everybody needs to make their own personal decision on their personal finances. They need to reach out to a trusted advisor to help them navigate that. But at the end of the day, what I am seeing right now in discussions I'm having with buyers is that they're okay with the interest rate because they honestly believe the rate's going to come down. Right. And they're going to say, look, all I'm doing is paying interest for the first 2 years anyway. Right. I'm not impacting my principal too much. Let's put a little bit of money aside. Right.
And the onus needs to be set on, I can't remember, I talked to somebody yesterday who's having conversations with buyers saying, and telling them, now may not be the time for you. Like, especially kind of the conversations with some investors. One, if you're from an investor, if you're not doing this in cash, you really got to look at your cash flow right now. Like, unless this is just like the ideal property and you know that you're going to refi it, even though it's not making it doesn't make sense on paper yet, but you've got an obsession with the property. Like, I make emotional-based purchases. Also, I will help you execute this with the plan and on where you're going to be once we can refi you down the road.
Let's pivot a little bit.
Sure.
Let's talk about rate locks, Scott. Right, this is becoming a situation in some transactions that I'm helping some folks with. Right, so that the rate, a year ago, nobody really cared about rate locks, right? Because it was down, it was stable, it was whatever.
So when rates were falling, people cared about rate locks, and
when the rates were falling.
When rates were going down,
sure.
Because then the danger for them
was locking in a rate that was was going to tumble.
Do we lock too early? And here's the thing: it's like, okay, are you comfortable right now? I mean, we're inside of 30 days. Things might get better, but you're also risking, the things getting worse. And then having a conversation to make them feel whole that, like, okay, let's do this now, and I'll ignore the white noise and what's happening off here on the side. To your point now, it is, do we want to do a lock and shop? But now we're trapped because we can only go down so much.
Sure.
But if we're protected from things going up, I think in today's environment, I just don't see the lock and shop or doing a 6-month or a year-long lock based off of, for like a new construction
Sure.
situation,
Well, that's a whole different animal.
but they're similar.
Yeah. The reason I brought it up is we have some sellers that we have contracts on that they're trying to shorten the closing period because their rates are expiring, right? So, we're on the listing side on these transactions. So, they're now upping the tempo of the close because their rates are supposedly expiring before that happens. And my advice to them was to the agent on the other side, for them to go back to their loan officer and find out, because maybe you can help me out a little bit here. Sometimes there's like an automatic extension. There's like a little bit of time that you are given free, or does that?
So there's a cost.
Okay.
There's, me or anybody, I say anybody, I assume that most retail LOs
do this.
have the opportunity to pick up a day at no charge. If you're going,
Yeah, these are weeks.
if we're going
these are
weeks, you're paying.
Well, there's a cost though, because now there's a problem for my seller, right? Right. So we had a closing date of X. Now they want to move it up for 2 weeks, which is putting a fiscal impact on my seller.
Yeah.
Right. And my answer to them was, we don't.
Hundreds of dollars. We're not talking $1,000, but there's definitely hundreds of dollars penalty. Oh, and I don't know the loan amount.
Yeah.
That could.
But for my seller, it's substantially more than that, because they got to now move out of their home 2 weeks earlier, depending on where the domino sets up and all that stuff. And this was on the seller side, a conversation we did not have in the last 2 years. Now it's starting to have, people are trying to push that they're getting a contract in with a 45-day close date, for instance, right? And now they're trying to up it to like 30 days or 3 weeks or something like that because of the rates are expiring. And I just wanted to see if you're hearing any of that or seeing. This may just be a couple of transactions that we're in the middle of.
So I'm
that's
confused.
happening.
I'm confused at they want to shorten the
Because their rate lock will expire before closing. I know the look on your face, but that's what's happening.
There's a little bit for me to unpack here. Why the contract that was originally sent over,
Everybody agreed to.
everybody agreed to,
Correct. And now we're having a conversation.
but their rate is going to expire prior to the. So we've got either someone who's not telling the truth, or
They got a rate lock before they.
or they did like maybe a lock and shop, and but then we go back to, why did everybody knew what was going on when they received the contract?
This is actually happening live. These two deals happened yesterday, so I'm trying to unpack them with the other side and what's going on. I just thought I'd ask you, does that make any sense to you?
I think they need another loan officer, and I can close your loan in the next. If I've got less than 21 days, I'll get it done.
Yeah.
So if you out there are listening, witnessing this,
I've already made that.
all of this
suggestion.
doesn't make any sense from your LO side. Like, there's a competency thing that should have been addressed day one.
But anyway, in this particular case, all of a sudden rate lock became an issue, and they're trying to close sooner. Again, I haven't unpacked it yet, and I just thought I'd throw that out
I
there.
think something.
Sarah Buchensky's got a similar question. Why did the buyer sign a contract with closing after rate lock expired?
Bingo.
agreed.
Sarah, yeah, I'm
Sarah, we have some unpacking to do. I was just curious if you're hearing
all
any
on the
of
same
this.
page. Like, I know Mike would have explained to everyone involved that, hey, guys, your rate lock expires. Is there any way that you can close this on X date? I think
Yeah, these are, and I won't use names because, but
But you're a nice man.
big
these-
shout out, Mike.
these are.
Coach B.
These are
Lebowski
local.
Love. I know.
These are local loan officers. So, I mean, I'll get to the bottom of it and we'll figure it out. We're not going to up the closing.
She also adds on the seller side, they have no obligation to close
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah. So that's what I just said. We're not gonna up it, but we may up it.
I mean,
we may up it if there's some financial gain out of it, and that may happen.
when you bring stuff like that, that's where angry elf energy kicks in.
Okay,
I'm
so
like, I'm
let's
like,
let's stay on Lebowski.
Let's stay zen.
Let's stay
Zen.
zen.
We're staying
Lebowski.
zen.
I
Let's
can
stay
tell you
Lebowski.
right now, we got
Let's
professionals not
take
doing
another sip of
professional
that
things.
White Russian.
Okay.
Let's go.
This is actually a latte from Seaville Coffee, for those that are wondering.
Big shout out.
Yeah, but you're 100% right. So this may be a negotiation opportunity for my seller. So I'm just curious if anybody's seeing that popping up. This is the first time I've experienced it.
Yeah, I would say that's an odd one,
Yeah,
Mr.
well-
Grant.
So this question's come in. A good one from Spencer. Keith has often said on this show what Scott does is a leading indicator because he's seeing applications come in before closings. Keith, seems like a good time for you to ask Scott that question.
You know what? How
Spencer.
about I ask that question? So how are we looking as far as leading indicators, right? Because you guys are the front running of this.
We
Thank you,
are.
sir, for the reminder.
You would say the first indicator, right?
I would say the first indicator.
Especially in a market like this.
the
What would
fir-
be first?
Yeah, I think the first indicator is us, right? Because we start getting the
Have the
phone
conversation.
call. We have the conversation.
And then you say, go get a pre-approval.
And that's the reason I kicked the show off with asking about pre-approvals and stuff like that. These are even more important now. They're important, period. I mean, what real estate agents are watching, I'm pretty sure none of us would take out a buyer to look at homes without a pre-qual letter. So,
Pre-qual or pre-approval?
pre-approval. Well, some sort of pre-qual or pre-approval, right? Personally, I like
You like approvals.
I like approvals.
Scotty Moe, your mortgage advisor, would say this, and this is something that when I talk to newer agents I coach to, if we're talking about you've made the first contact, you've built a little bit of rapport over the phone, and you can get them to commit verbally to, hey, we're going to go see one property. We'll schedule one property for one day, and we'll get out there, build that. And this is especially true depending on your lead source. Like if it's coming from a paid lead service, if I see no problem with agents going out, meeting someone, getting a second level of rapport. So where you're showing them, getting them to sign a buyer contract, to where you're their person. And once they've made that commitment to you being their person, you let them know, all right, now I need you to reach out to Scott Morse and get with him on getting a pre-approval in place, and then from there, we'll go out and look at more properties. I see no problem at all, especially turning a cold, warm-ish lead into a warm, hot lead by seeing one property, building that relationship, and then doing the handoff to the LO. I think there's some opportunity lost when you're saying, no, I really need you to get pre-approved before we go see anything. Here's my list, blah, blah, blah. I think there's opportunity lost in not getting out there, meeting them face-to-face, creating, maybe even not see a property, get them in the office, cup of coffee, whatever it is you do that you're most comfortable with, to build that next level of success.
So I didn't know we were going to talk about this today, but I just happened to grab the full 150 pages of the National Association data on trends for purchasers and buyers. And one of the things I love about the National Association of Realtors is, and I think I actually said that right.
You said that very right. Well done.
And I didn't even have any coffee today. The statistical data is just off the charts, and they have the ability to take the deep dives into it. But to your point, of all buyers and this is 2022, which was 2021 numbers, 87% of all buyers use the real estate agent. So it starts with us first on that end of it. Interesting though, the age group between 23 to 21 was the highest group. So these are the younger millennials. 92% of them used a real estate agent on that end of it. The lowest, believe it or not, is, well, I'm not quite there yet. The 67 to 75 was 85%. So the older boomers, it was the lowest number. Thought that was an interesting.
I think that's
stat to throw
fascinating.
out.
Well, this is a question that's come in for Scott. How high does he anticipate the rates are going to go by the end of the year?
Oh,
You
there
get that
go.
question constantly.
I mean, I've been consistently wrong in answering it.
Why stop now?
So by the end of the year, all right, so we're going to get through midterms. We're already seeing a collapsing U.S. 10-year. How strong is that collapse? Is there data that we don't know about inflation and jobs reports that are coming? Do the bond buyers, does the big institutional money believe that they are in fact oversold? So what does continued foreign policy, how does that affect? So China can't sell off their American bond holdings without it negatively affecting the yuan. But however, the strength of the U.S. dollar right now, in part to the bond market, is collapsing other lower tiered economies right now. So there's some huge risk in that. The government is beginning to kind of monitor, but they're not the ones that are creating this shift. We really need to see what inflation and these jobless claims are going to do. I mean,
Well, this is a
You think we hit 8? You think we hit 8?
I think we hit 8 if we run back to back November, December. If we don't see jobless claims increasing and we see inflation hot,
So back-to-back months.
we get to 8.
I had a conversation this morning when I was walking with my next door neighbor, asked the same question. So how's the market? What's going on? These are questions we all get asked all the time.
I got that question at picking up a case of beer.
Yeah, it's
Literally, and I'm like, I'm just a talk show host.
Well, you're a
Talk to
little-
Keith and Scott over here.
Yeah, a little more than that. But the reality of it is, those get asked all the time. And back to the Lisa Sturtevant quote, the reason people are asking that, it's the second largest GDP in the state of Virginia.
And it's everywhere.
And it's everywhere. And it's one of the top 3, right? Food, clothing, and shelter on
So-
that end.
Forbes just released an article on is this housing crash, now this housing crash is an air quote crash, because it's not. It's more like it's a slowing, but nationwide, it's going to be felt in more pockets than others. But however, this slowing is part of what precipitates a recession. So this is another cog in that wheel of all the things, GDP being down, a slowing in the housing market, much more like, say, a 1981 pre-recession warning than 91 in that sense, because 91 had a lot to do with the tech stock bust.
That's exactly what it happened to. So it's interesting, though. I'm referring to this as, and I came up with this.
91 is not, that was not.
That was the war.
That was the war.
Yeah.
That was like 2001 was the slowing.
So I'm referring to the market more like the bubble wrap, right? So there'll be certain little pockets that pop, right? Very laser focused type of
Agreed.
product and homes and locations that may pop. They may be over valued, oversold on all that end of it. So that's kind of what I see what's happening. And it's not going to be like it was in 2007-8, this whole balloon just rupturing and impacting everything across the board. So you're going to see some of the small stuff. But I think the thing I'm following is unemployment, because that's the one thing.
That's it.
That's the one item that's really has not kicked up yet, for lack of a better term, right? We've got inflation. As far as I'm concerned, we're in a recession. The GDP is down, yada yada yada, on that end of it. But the mass.
You know what I want to hit on? That's not a closing remark thing. I'm sorry. If I'm cutting you off on that.
I'm following you, sir.
I don't want to hear during Scott's harassment calls to realtors about how slow things are, dude. I talked to a friend of mine, also an agent, but he very involved with his kids' sports and coaching, and it's a huge part of it, of his world. Brzezinski also coach. So Jake McNamara, shout out, love you. Seeing your brother JJ today, we're gonna work on some stuff. But my point is, the kids he's been coaching have gone through a tough run of tournament outcomes, just getting that little fanny spanked. And this past weekend, they went tournament Pennsylvania, and played some difficult teams, and they won in competitive ways, and in times that situations that had to be tough. And when you get with a kids group that age, and you see it even at a college level and a professional level, once you start seeing shoulders slumped and eye rolls and meetings,
it's the body language.
And once you've committed your reaction, it shifts your mood, and your body language and your mood are big drivers of performance. A lot of us during during Zoom time and the COVID, getting dressed in your pajamas and not leaving your house, as opposed to getting yourself fixed up, dressed sharp, and ready to go out and crush the day, brings two different attitudes. So when I'm having calls with people, and the mood is this woe is me, that is not going to make your situation better.
I can tell you, I'm having opposite conversations. We're as busy as we've ever been. Certain agents that I'm talking to, they're off the charts busy. I'm actually texting Greg Slater right now.
I agree with that.
On he was telling me he just had the best month he's ever had. And certain agents not. And it's interesting. I'm digging as you're talking. I'm digging through these stats. And one of the questions was, and this is just a note out for real estate agents: how many times buyer recommended their agent? Would you believe none was 36%? 36% of the people polled would not recommend their agent. So why is that? Right? It's the same as the LO, and that number actually goes up.
And when
I apologize. No. I misspoke. How many times the buyer recommended the agent? So this was, none
who?
was 36%.
To who?
I have to dig into it a little bit more. But
How
basically,
long
what they're
after
saying,
the
what they're saying here is, people recommend Keith and Yona. They recommend Yona. People recommend Keith and Yona all the time.
Yeah.
People recommend that because we develop the relationships and we kind of move on. But it was interesting. And the other stat in here, which I have to pull out, there was a question asked, can you name your real estate agent? And so many, there's a huge number that couldn't name their real estate agent that helped them, because we tend to be really bad at staying in connections.
Follow up. That's what I was trying to figure out with when, how long
It's generally follow. This was last year, so it was transactions that happened in 2021. But I guess I'm trying to wrap around your conversation about your realtors and me flipping through some stats as you're talking here, that, we tend to do a bad job of staying in front of our clientele, our referrals. Yona and I I think do a great job of it. Anybody who's in our sphere of influence, they get letters and stuff all the time in the mail. But I thought that was an odd number,
So my point is, for those who are feeling slump-shouldered and bad attitude towards what may, if you feel things are slowing,
reach out to
how
your
many
sphere.
have you gone through your database
Yeah.
and called everyone and reignited that relationship? Because if you haven't,
That should have been going on all along.
sure, but if
100%
you're
right.
feeling that you are slower than you should be, what daily activities are you taking to make yourself more successful and go back in and ask for those referrals? Create that energy.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, ain't no sitting in pajamas to start your day off. Take a shower,
Well,
get sharp, go
Some
after
of the
an
agents
attack.
that came on in the last couple of years, was maybe just a little bit too easy, right? But you have to go back to it. But Yona and I coach and mentor a bunch of real estate agents, and
Have you seen licenses not get renewed? Is
a
that
little
starting
too,
to happen?
little too early for that, right? That's a little too early to start seeing that.
When's that happen?
So licenses are one thing because we all license at different times.
Well, how about car membership?
That's it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I can report from the board last month we were up, right? So I think you're not going to see that.
But that's a trailing indicator.
That's
So-
a trailing indicator, right? But I don't, exactly to your point, I don't think you'll start seeing that shifting probably into the tail end of next year. Because what happens at NAR and CAR and all that stuff, my dues are due October 31st.
How much are dues?
I can't remember.
Someone from NAR in a very recent article,
Enough.
and it may be
Yeah,
that Forbes
sure.
article that I'm specifically referring to, mentioned a
Neil just shared the Forbes article.
a pullback in licensing.
Yeah, so that's at the state level, right? So you got to get level. So, I mean, the tracking would be basically this time next year, when the dues are due at CAR, right? So, which is the 31st of October. And of course, Mr. and Mrs. Smith always wait to the last minute to pay anything. But, so the point is people will be paying this year. I don't think you'll see an impact until do people now drop out between now and October of next year because of the market. And logic will tell you that's probably going to happen a little bit. Today was my last board meeting. I can tell you 2023, 2024 budgets for Charlottesville Association of Realtors, Area Association of Realtors, whatever it is, whatever CAR, there you go, is going to be a tough job. Whoever's taking on treasurer, that's going to be a tough budget.
Why do you say that?
Well, I think because of what we're talking about. I think you're going to start seeing, we're looking, right? We're at a almost 20% year-over-year reduction in volume. That's going to impact across the board. Not dollar amount, this is just transaction volume.
Yeah,
The
deal's done.
Deal's done. I think across the board you're going to see appreciation go up. It's two very different things.
Sure.
But, if there is 20% reduction in deals, that means somebody's doing 20% less business. So it's gonna come from somewhere.
Well, interestingly, and it's a market with many faces. Like, for example, one face, the agent, Keith and Yona is a good example. The agents that are able to keep their volume at basically the same clip could make more money because the deals are at
exactly
a
right.
more
That's exactly
expensive price point. But the agents that are doing less volume are going to be making less money because they're just not clocking enough work right here.
Well, I'll be honest
You could be
with-
making more commission money here.
I'll be honest with you. We set our budgets for next year already, and our transaction volume is less, but our revenue volume,
Is more.
we're projecting higher. Yeah.
Yeah, because the deals are at a higher clip.
That's correct. Yeah.
Also, if you're an agent who is already lower and you're concerned about that falling, if you're not doing that much volume right now, call me and we can set up a plan where we can turn the level that you're at, being the lowest level that you have to deal with for the rest of your life, if you're willing to take action and do the work. So something I've been talking about with the team and planning for next year is intent implementation. So doing things that you are focused on this is going to create a better outcome, and then doing it.
So you're 100% right. This is when the basics matter. I put the number away, but I believe it was 36%. That's a place to start to work. Work with your clients. I don't care if it's 1 or 100 or 10 or whatever's in your sphere of influence. That person better refer you. That person better not be part of that 36%. They should refer you. And now's the time. This is a contact sport. It's always been a contact sport. The last 2 years has kind of made it hard to do that. But this is a contact sport. Stay in contact with your sphere of influences, your trusted advisors, right? These are the people that are going to help grow your business. And, that's what we've been doing for 35 years. It's not rocket science, right? And, but, to your point, and I can't remember the exact number, and Neil will correct me, but, I think it's like 20% of all the real estate agents.
90% of the business.
Like 90%, and I may have the numbers wrong, but it's a huge percentage difference. Those 20%, they know how to do it, and they're going to keep on doing it. It's the other rest of them that need to kind of start. The fact that 36% of the people won't recommend their real estate agent is a problem.
Coach B says you've morphed into the Big Lebowski.
Who's that?
Coach B.
Okay.
That's what you wanted?
What's that?
That's what you wanted.
Yeah.
The
Big Lebowski?
Yeah.
Yeah. The dude.
He says he sees it.
Yeah, 100%.
He sees the dude.
I couldn't
100%.
get ppast Santa Claus, but that's okay.
Okay.
That's the Halloween motif. Coach B, Michael Buchetsky.
So I am actually an ordained minister. I don't know if you guys knew this.
I did not know that.
In the
Did I
Latter Day
laugh? I'm
Church
sorry.
of the Dude. Oh, this is a real thing. So if you want, you want me to throw the sweater on,
So you
some
can actually do
sunglasses.
marriages and stuff?
Yeah. Mix up a little White Russian. I'm happy to be the master of ceremonies at your.
Well, we're
At your
going to,
wedding.
Yona and I renewed our vows 3 times. We're going to renew them again for a 4th time. We'll hire the dude to renew our vows. We might have
also
to
says
fly you
you're-
somewhere.
He also says you've been totally right with your takes today. Coach B has.
Thanks, man. I
Guys, give
appreciate
you some
that.
props. How many times have you renewed your vows?
3 times.
Wow.
Well, renewed our vows twice. It was the original and twice.
Romance is in the air in the Smith household.
Yona had an opportunity 3 times to say no, so I don't want to hear nothing.
Hey, it was a one-way ticket to Europe. She came back though.
She came back, yeah. Her
She
luggage
came back.
did. Her luggage did not, though. By the way.
Oh, where's the luggage? Somewhere over the Atlantic?
We are. We're actually texting.
TBD?
We're to be determined. No, it's in the United States. We know that much. Just can't tell you where.
Nicholas Erpy giving you guys some props. This is coming in the feed from Thomas. Yet another humorous show I especially liked when Scott was modeling the sweater. And Michael Buchetsky says you're awesome at this. You're awesome, man. So you're getting props, dude. The viewers and listeners giving you props,
Thank you.
my friend.
I appreciate that.
The band is back together.
Bands, and we're on a mission from God.
Yeah.
So Friday, it's Jerry and I.
Blues
did it.
Brothers.
Blues Brothers. There you go.
I got it.
Thanks for paying attention.
I got it. You said it earlier.
For the audience.
Yeah. You said
I
it
don't-
earlier.
I said it earlier.
I don't want you guys
I was
thinking
just
that-
dabbling it out there to see
Okay.
who
There's
was.
To
like-
see if he was paying attention. And he
No,
was.
actually, Smith forgot. To be honest with you,
We
so
got one host with the voice of a phone sex worker. We got one host who might have a smidge of dementia, and we got one host who's moonlighting as the Big Lebowski over here. And of course, there's
I prefer ADD,
oh,
not
ADD.
dementia. Not
Okay,
dementia. I
ADD.
prefer that.
And then we got Judah Wickower, who's our rock.
As our rock, and he hasn't laughed all too much today.
Oh,
but
he's
I
been
haven't-
laughing.
I haven't been able to watch him. So Friday, it's Batman and Robin. Looking forward to it. And then the actual Batman and Robin will be here on the 31st.
It's
week
Monday.
from today. A week from today.
Okay, see, so
Well,
I
no,
dressed
that's-
up today.
Monday's the 31st.
Yeah, you guys
Unless
have
the calendar's lying to me, a week from
Monday.
A week from Monday. Excuse me, a
Monday
week
is
from
the
Monday.
31st.
Got
So am I wearing the Robin costume on Monday?
You're not wearing anything. Actually, Robin will be here.
That's even.
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know
that's
what you're talking
that's
about.
a little scarier.
We're taking a vacation on the 31st, and
So
Batman
on
and Robin.
Monday, Keith and I will not be here,
Will
but
not be
two
here.
human beings that look surprisingly a lot like us
and sound a lot like
and sound a lot like us will be here in spandex.
in spandex.
How's the for your friend who likes for your Batman friend? How is his Batman costume? How is his Batman crime-fighting outfit fitting these days?
Thank you for noticing.
Absolutely.
I appreciate noticing. Yeah, I'm about 15 pounds lighter than I was this time last year. So, So maybe Batman will have a little room in his spandex.
Last time when Robin was in the I Love Seville studio, he proceeded to walk down the downtown mall in his Robin outfit. And while some folks were staring, some people gawking in horror as he was walking into the studio, he did a fake karate chop like this in the air, and the UPS driver was coming right around the corner, and he scared the bejeebus out of the UPS driver. So maybe Robin and Batman can walk up and down the mall again.
Oh, I like that.
Well, Batman and Robin better have some
Oh yes, some coffee.
coffee.
Some coffee.
Coffee.
Batman and Robin will have coffee on
Batman
Monday.
will have a very similar accent to mine. Yeah, I'm looking forward
Hopefully
to it.
Robin can talk normally.
Actually, I like it. It actually sounds
That's
real
terrifying.
Very sexy.
I actually
I gotta
heard this
tell-
yesterday afternoon. They're like, Jerry, that's quite the voice for a talk show right there. And I was like, whoa.
Good, because I got a face for radio, so.
No, you got a face and a sweater for a video cast, my
I
friend.
do like it. I like the sweater. You have to tell me off air where you got it.
You got
from.
props the whole show?
So, thank you, and hey, brother, love you. Glad to hear everything
you.
is going
Yeah.
in the right direction.
We love Scott Morris,
we're
guys.
praying for you.
Ross Mortgage, Scott Morris, Ross Mortgage. You see what the man is all about. He's here Wednesdays on Real Talk with Keith Smith, Ross Mortgage, and Scott Morris. Friday, Batman and Robin, Keith Smith, and yours truly on the I Love Seville Network, presented by Yes Realty Partners. All the shows are archived online on the fabulous, the dynamic realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. We encourage you to click the Partners tab on Real Talk with Keith Smith, where you will see the trusted supply chain for housing in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Central Virginia. Judah Wickhauer is the director. The I Love Seville show is up in 58 minutes. We will see you soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Nicely done, gentlemen.
Well done, Scott.
Bang, bang.
Good to see you back in the seat, brother.
Thanks, homie. I was, dude, so